Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, FBI Special Agent in Charge Robert Bowles, and local and federal law enforcement partners. Following the remarks today, Governor Cox, Director Patel, and Commissioner Mason will take questions. Thank you.
Here we go.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there has been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital O-W-O, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who's worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah. But I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone over to the Director of the FBI, Kash Patel.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead it out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilized these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake Field Office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is a very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Thank you, and good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking at people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. Taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement, to see the cooperation that we have seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community, because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support, and you gave it to us. We needed your patience, and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family, because that's what they need, is your support and your prayers, and that will get us through all of this. So thank you, everybody, for everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
I also want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Thank you again to our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this? There's violence happening all across our country, and violence is tragic everywhere. And every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk. But it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence.
No, it's not.
For lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely, especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been, as sad as I have ever been. And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state, and all across the country. As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. And he's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. And Charlie went into those places anyway. And these are the words that have helped me. Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded. Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life. It's going to be okay. He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence. He said, what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, To my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable. And yet, all of us have an opportunity right now to do something different. I want to thank my fellow Utahns. This bad stuff happens. For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here. And it was one of us. But see, these are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one is to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me. I'll just conclude with words I share often from a friend and author, Yuval Levin, who was asked if he was optimistic about our country. And he said, I'm not optimistic. He said, I hate optimism. God, that sounds bad. But he said, optimism is a vice. It's this idea that good things are just going to happen. And he said, in the history of the world, good things have never just happened. He says, I'm not optimistic, but I am hopeful. And hope is the virtue that sits between the vices of optimism and pessimism. Hope is the idea that good things are going to happen because we can make them so. I still believe in our country. And I know Charlie Kirk believed in our country. I still believe that there is more good among us than evil. And I still believe that we can change the course of history. I'm hopeful because Americans can make it so. Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Governor, can you please speak to whether the suspect is speaking with authorities and is speaking or Tyler Robinson will turn himself in?
I cannot speak to that. Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean. I think the clearest one that says "catch fascist," there's not. And by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. That's I think that speaks for itself. There's nothing more that we can share at this time.
Governor, you indicated that you have been communicating with a friend on Discord about the gun. Do you anticipate any more arrests?
We do not at this time have any information that would lead to any additional arrests. Yes, but the investigation is ongoing. Yes, so right now, Mr. Robinson has been booked into the Utah County Jail. You heard the president this morning report that that he was taken into custody, that his family and a friend helped to deliver him into custody of law enforcement in Washington County. For those of you that don't know where Washington County is, it is the southwesternmost part of the state of Utah. It's about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from here, where we are right now, and that's where he lived and where they turned him in. Please, I go here. I can't share any more than what I've already shared. Yeah. So how we obtained the gun? The gun was found here. So I don't have much more details on that. We do know that he drove. We had his car here on campus, and then we had his car going south back to the St. George. It's actually the city of Washington in Washington County. I'm sorry? We don't have any information that would lead us to believe that. Yes, in fact, it was just released. Yes. I can't answer that right now.
Can you clarify?
Over here. I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history. Yes. The question is, what kind of watershed? And that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history, or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history? Look, I mean, if you look at true political assassinations in this country of someone of this stature, this feels a lot like the late 60s, and having one so gruesomely displayed on camera in all of our hands and in all of our pockets. We are not wired as human beings biologically, historically. We have not evolved in a way that we are capable of processing those types of violent imagery. And by the way, we've seen another one with a gruesome stabbing very recently that went viral. This is not good for us. It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community. That is happening, and it's happening organically right now. I had a friend in a small city in Utah who said, we're getting together. The Republicans and Democrats in my little town are getting together to have a discussion last night, just to find a way to find their better angels. So yes, this could be. I mean, again, you have to go back to JFK to have seen a video live of something like this happening. I wasn't born until 1975, but I know that things were really dark in the late 60s. Sorry to some of you. I know some of you were there, but this is our moment. Do we escalate, or do we find an off ramp? And again, it's a choice. It's a choice, and every one of us gets to make that choice. Two more questions right here.
Could we clarify that the release of those enhanced images at 8 p.m., the timeline that Director Patel gave us, led to the arrest at 10 p.m.? Is there a direct connection between those two events?
I cannot comment if there is a direct connection or not, but all I can say is that that through some process, the family came to know that this had happened.
One more thing, Governor, could you just clarify the clothing issue you mentioned earlier? Was he changing outfits? Could
Correct.
you just clarify this?
Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU. Last question here. Yes.
Suspect was from Utah. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about where and was he a student here at this university, and is there any history of mental illness?
Yeah. So I don't have any information on the mental illness part. He was not a student here at UVU. He was living and had lived for a long time with his family in Washington County, in the southernmost part of our state. Thank you, everyone, for your great work in getting this information out. I would just say, process-wise, this may be important. I know many of you aren't familiar with the process in Utah. I think it's important that you understand that basically we have 3 days for charging documents to be filed. A CI will be filed. We'll have more information then, more detailed information as those charging documents are filed in preparation for a preliminary hearing. So 3 days. So we would anticipate then that early next week those charging documents will be filed. We will obviously be working. The county attorney will be working very closely with Mr. Kirk's family as those documents and decisions are prepared and made. Thanks, everyone.
So to speak. It was a pretty tough race, pretty nasty race, and he beat them all, and he beat them all very easily. And now he's
Well, now that we have that situated, now we can talk, because it's been crazy on social media. Everybody was losing their minds. Black colleges getting threatened. And they was like, what y'all threatening us for? This is a white on white crime. We have nothing to do with this. So over and over, we keep hearing about it. So it's been going down all week. Well, not all week, but for the past 36 hours. It feels like a month that went past with all this activity. And they mad at the black people because the black people don't care. And if you say you don't care, it leads to a bigger problem. Look at this.
Charlie Kirk. And this video is for the liberals. It's war. We're coming for you.
So, internet, you know what to do. Find this person's information and report him to the FBI, because this sounds like a terroristic threat, respectfully. But yeah, so I was going through Twitter today, and they are legit having names of liberal and leftist creators, most of them being black, that they want to get rid of from this earth. And I am one of those names on said list, because I said I don't feel bad for Charlie Kirk passing away, because I'm not sitting here boo-hoo crying like everybody else is doing because Charlie Kirk passed. I don't care that he passed. But apparently I deserve to pass away because I didn't care that Charlie Kirk passed away. Yep, that's what's happening. I'm getting dozens of death threats in my DMs right now as we speak. Yep. So I just want to put this out there, right? And I'm not trying to put it out in the universe. This is just me making a little video so you guys can have it. If anything were to happen to me because of my political opinions, just know I'm not afraid to die. I'm 35 years old. I've lived long enough on this earth. I've seen the things I wanted to see. I've done the things I wanted to do. I got I married one of the hottest women in the world. I have 5 beautiful kids, made it out the projects, lived in my truth, openly pansexual, did all types of awesome things, accomplished all types of awesome things. My life is great. And if anyone ever were to be dumb enough to try to take me from this earth because of my political opinions, just know I do want my friends, family, and everybody in the knows to take out your entire family tree. And I want you to suffer. I'm very loved, and I know too many people.
Now, here's the thing. If you don't like somebody or if you didn't care about them dying, why do you have to tell the whole world about it? If you don't care, why you got to make a video to say you don't care? If you don't care, then don't even cover it. That's the whole thing, but I think they just do this for attention. They're going to use it just to market it for attention. But I'm just like, man, when do we start marketing people's death as attention?
This is why we say white supremacy is the issue. Do you see the person, the suspect, the man they are looking for, the man at large? Do you see this man, right? He's obviously white. He's wearing a Patriot shirt. They say that he may be a college student, a white man. I want y'all to stick with me. Now, following Charlie Kirk's unaliving, 3 HBCUs, Alabama State, Hampton University, and Virginia State University have received threats. Threats for what? The suspect in Charlie Kirk's unaliving is going to be a white man. So why are Black people being threatened? Because it's all about white supremacy. And no matter what, white people who are racist in this country, who follow Charlie Kirk's rhetoric, believe that Black people should not exist. And so instead of turning on their own people, because this was white on white crime, they're directing their anger towards Black people that ain't got shit to do with the situation. I didn't even see a Black person in the goddamn crowd. It was Utah. Ain't that like Mormon country or some shit? But no, Black people once again, Black students once again have to keep their head on the swivel because white racist, Christian, nationalists, KKK members, Nazis are all trying to target them for what? We didn't have shit to do with what happened to Charlie Kirk. It was white on white crime. So why are we being subject to hate? Because no matter what, we will always be the thing white people turn to when it comes to aggression because they can't take it out on their own people. And that is why Charlie Kirk was detrimental to people that look like me. And his rhetoric was detrimental to people who look like me because we're never safe around people who talk like that. This is why we say white.
Now, she made a very good point. Why were they putting the whole attention towards Blacks? Knowing nobody Black, when this whole incident went down, we knew a Black person had nothing to do with this. First, there was only one shot. There ain't gonna be a Black person. 2, if this was Black, it was gonna be about 55 rounds hit. So it was a one shot, which means this person was a marksman and took shooting and took it very seriously. She made a good point about how political views and how they try to sway political views. I don't know why they got to say political violence and all that. What difference does it make if it's political violence? Violence is violence. Period. If somebody gets assassinated on television, period, why does the word political has to be involved in it? Like, it makes it more of a bigger crime because it's political. It's political. Here's the thing. Charlie Kirk wasn't a politician. He was not a politician. He was basically a lobbyist and a whip for Donald Trump, for him running for office. He was whipping up votes, but he wasn't a politician. They don't need an excuse to attack blacks. They attack blacks every day. We get attacked every damn day. They don't need no more excuses. If the shooter was black, he wouldn't have got off the campus. That's why I said they took it in Utah, even though they received threats not to have it in Utah. Oh, absolutely. You see, you say, yep, think much bigger. Well, I'm thinking bigger. I'm thinking that this situation is only growing because of the people involved in it. You know, the people outside of it. Instead of waiting the 36 hours, you got people sending threats everywhere. You had a fool ride a thing into a vigil, and says, F Charlie, in the middle of the vigil, and got himself beat down. And got himself arrested. Like I said, I'm not a Charlie Kirk fan, but what you're having here is people that's caught up in the moment. That's not funny, dude. Well, when you see that, he said that was just dumb. Of course it's dumb. They do it. Anybody nowadays, they doing anything for attention. So that's why I was saying to people, I'm like, look, if you know they doing stuff for attention, don't fall for it. It's a trap. They want one group to be pinned against another group. Charlie Kirk was just a man making money. He was making money in the way he found a niche and where he can make money at. He was no Ivy League student. He went to high school right down the street from here to one of the most ghetto high schools there is. He went to Wheeling High School. Wheeling High School is not known for his education. He went to Harper College, and where he dropped out. That's like a junior college. So they try to make it like Charlie was this super smart individual. Right. If he was smart, he would have been in the good college. I mean, the good high school. He would have went to Buffalo Grove. He didn't go to BG. He went to Wheeling. So that tells you right there, he went to the hood. He went to the hood school. Well, that's because he knows Donald Trump. That's the only reason he's getting political backing like this, because he was a whip for votes for them, but he wasn't a politician. So people are upset that they're putting the flag at half mast for him because of that. Yes, and that's very weird because when he was in high school, he didn't have all these views. He wasn't holding these meetings when he was in Wheeling. He was hanging out with guys up in Wheeling, Black people, Latinos, everybody. But he found this niche in debating people on facts and getting into it with politicians. And when Trump ran, he was very advocate for Trump. So as he went through his years after graduating high school, and then he started to become this, this elitist mentality of seeing things one way and then going another way. And everybody was blaming the Democrats for everything. Now, they just come out and told you, the right FBI investigators, pro-Trump people, just came out and told you this man acted alone and there's no political agenda to the whole thing. They're not there. That's not enough for them. No, they need no. What do you mean? There's got to be somebody connected. But everybody was blaming the Democrats. Yes, his family is from Arlington Heights. They resided over near Buffalo Grove. So he's born right around the corner from here. I can get to where he went to school in about 10 minutes. Now, yeah, well, the thing is, they're trying to make him a martyr of goodwill, and it's just amazing how, if they want to get you and make you a star, they can. They don't seem to care about any direction there is. And then if anybody black says anything, they were being attacked. And it was like, well, they put out a description of the guy and you saw that he was white. You would think this would slow down the attacks on blacks, but no, that was going down all night. And blacks were upset about it. But blacks, the way we are, we're going to react, then think. So we going to say, man, F that dude. I don't care about him no way. So that's how the whole thing is. They ain't thinking about, people are mourning, they got family members. Man, F them. They don't care about my family. That's the black mentality. That's just naturally how we respond is F them too.
What, you're going to get kicked out of the United States Navy. You know how they tell us that we should be careful what we do on social media because there could be real life consequences? Hi, my name's Real Life Consequence. I've done a thorough background check and now I know everything about you. I know what little town in Texas you're from. I know your name, your phone number, your email address. I've seen your disciplinary records. I know the names of all of your family members, including your dead mother and your daughter who turns 2 next week and her mother who's going to have to pay for all the birthday presents this year because you came into my live stream and saw a black man who was talking about Pokemon cards and video games, and you assumed, yeah, he's not going to do anything if I call him slurs repeatedly, even though he's trying to help me. Turns out I am going to do something. Turns out there are so many things I can do because I have all the screenshots. I have all of the recordings. I know that after you left my live stream, you went into someone else's and started talking about how much you love Jesus and God and the Bible. So maybe I should send that evidence to the church you go to in that little town we both know about. I know exactly which boat in the Navy you serve on, and I know the names of black sailors that serve on the same boat as you. Maybe I'll send the clips to them as well. But only after I send them to the Naval Inspector General's office because I'm getting you fired. I'm getting you kicked out of the Navy. There's nothing you can do to stop me. There is no apology I will accept. There is no excuse I will listen to. There is no money you could offer me. You're getting fired. And when you're working the graveyard shift in an Amazon warehouse and your back hurts and your feet hurt and those white bright lights are beating down on you and the teenager who still has his life ahead of him walks up to you and says, "What are you doing here?" Tell him the truth. Tell him about me.
Woo!
To the white guy that called me slurs over and over again in my live stream the other night for no reason, guess what?
Damn, see, that's why you can't play with everybody out here in these streets. It sounds like I'm hating. What am I hating on? Y'all just gotta have some type. It sounds like I'm hating. How am I hating? Hating on what? I'm showing you what's happening in the world, sir. The world. How am I the one hating? That wasn't even me. That wasn't me. He said a lot of racists playing dumb. They knew what he was about. That was MLK, Malcolm X, but racist. I don't agree with a lot of his views. Like, I never watch him. See, that's the thing about me. My time is precious. If I see somebody that's not saying something that's beneficial to anyone, they're just having debates to boost themselves and become popular. But what they're saying is a bunch of like pretty much rhetoric or just a lot of off the wall stuff. I'm not going to give that the time of day. I'm just going to ignore it and go somewhere else with it because I'm not the people like that. They're doing it to build up their own brand or build up their own, whatever they seem to be supporting. So I don't give it the time of day. So 90% of this stuff about Charlie Kirk, I didn't even know about because I don't listen to him. I know of him and I know he says things to get people riled up. It's like, okay, I know that's his stick. So I'm not going to, throw fuel on the fire, by going there. Look what he said, man, F Charlie Kirk. Because what he would say was something that would make sense. It's like Candace Owens 2.0. Candace Owens would say something that's right and smart. She'll say it 100 miles an hour, and she thinks she's right because she said it fast. 90% of the people out there, they have to take accountability because when you don't take accountability, I'll be like, slow down, okay, take some Ritalin, and now. Tell me what you're talking about. Have a conversation and don't be a robot, please. So, I could sit here all day and make Candace Owens videos. She says the same ridiculous things over and over again because it's shrouded in one-sided nonsense and rhetoric that is divisive. So, when you listen to that type of rhetoric, you tune it out. That's why a lot of the things Charlie said, I didn't know about until people were sending me yesterday was like, look at this, Cito, I saw your video yesterday. You gotta look at this. Look at this, Cito, look at that. Look at this. Look what he said. I ain't gotta love him. F that dude. F him and his family. His mama the same way and his daddy. I'm like, damn, yeah, these people were nuts. Y'all don't know what I went through yesterday. Y'all don't know what I went through yesterday. It was crazy. People was like, how dare you tell me to like him? I'm like, I did not tell you to like this man. I'm like, where in the world did you hear me say you should like this man? I'm like, my goodness, I never told you to go out and like Charlie Kirk. I said, man, we don't have, first thing I said is like, hey, you don't have to be sympathetic. I said that. You don't have to be sympathetic if you don't want to, but you don't have to be cruel either. We don't have to be savages. We don't got to celebrate a man losing their life. We ain't got to do that. It's not what we do. So it ain't about liking this man. I'm not telling you to go out and cheer for Charlie. I'm not saying that. I'm like, I don't agree with a lot of the things he said, but I'm not finna sit here and mourn him like he was the world's greatest man. But they just doing things and saying things online just to piss black people off, to keep them enraged, saying they finna build a statue of him next to Martin Luther King. And that's just pissing black. I'm like, look, black people gonna get themselves, they easily, I know them because I got them in my family. They easily pushed over the edge. If you say anything of this type of rhetoric, they be ready to go. Oh, man, they don't care no more. All of these acts that are going on right now, and all of these people are saying different things, and they keep trying to blame society for everything. And black folks like, look, we tired of being the whipping boy on everything.
The evil ones will try to weaponize Charlie Kirk's death and use it as a reason to be violent towards others.
This video's in regards to Charlie Kirk, and this video's for the fucking liberals. It's war, motherfuckers. We're coming for you. We're coming for you. And spare me your fucking self-righteous bullshit lectures. I don't give a fuck. We're coming for you.
Where was this outrage when Democrat House Representative Melissa Hartman and her husband were gunned down in their home by Republican Vance Bolter just a couple months ago? The Trump administration has been trying to sweep that under the rug. That was political violence, and the shooter was a Republican. Where was the outrage then? Red and blue are Americans. Stop using death to try to turn Americans against each other. Charlie Kirk didn't believe in empathy. So if you love Charlie Kirk and you have empathy for him, you're going against everything Charlie Kirk stood for.
I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that it does a lot of damage. But
in Charlie Kirk's eyes, you're weak if you have empathy. I feel sorry for Charlie Kirk because he believed that the white race should always be the most superior.
The great replacement of white people is far more sinister than any redistricting project, which is the continued attempt to eliminate the white population in this country. I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
I feel sorry for Charlie Kirk because the God that Charlie Kirk served was the same God that the KKK believed in. Charlie Kirk served the same God that slave owners believed in. Charlie Kirk served the same God that people who owned white-only establishments believed in. My opinion is that I think Charlie Kirk was a racist, but I feel sorry for Charlie Kirk because even though Charlie Kirk talked about God, he didn't serve the same God that I serve. My God believes in empathy. My God believes that we are all the same no matter what race you are. This is a time for forgiveness and understanding. If you have violence on your mind, that means you're letting the devil move through you, and that will not be a great outcome. Charlie Kirk's shooter is still at large.
Now, that's what that brother was saying. Now, what y'all think about what he said? Well, a lot of things of what he just said was taken out of context. Where Charlie said he had no empathy, he cut it the video when he said the word that he would use is sympathy over empathy. Because, you know, you should have sympathy for people more than empathy. That's what Charlie Kirk was saying if you listen to it in its entirety. So this is what I mean by when you watch a clip on social media, it gets clipped and taken out of context. Not to say everything Charlie said is 100%. And yes, he is to me somebody who is very much into one side of the race pool. And that is conservative. If you're a black conservative, he would have no problem with you. But if you are black and democratic or whatever, then he's going to look at you differently. Imperialistic garbage. Yes, he has a very imperialistic way of thinking. And he's doing it basically to feel, to pretty much promote an agenda because it gets him paid. So it's just like people using Jordan versus LeBron. They keep using Jordan versus LeBron so they can stay in an algorithm to keep people going back and forth. They say things to antagonize, to get people hot who support Michael Jordan so they can be mad and they're going to promote LeBron James when they really can give a damn about LeBron James. They just using that because they know that's a target to keep them, getting the money, getting the attention. So it's the same thing Charlie Kirk is doing. Really, this is not like I've heard people say that he's very smart, he's very intelligent. No, he just remembered a whole lot of jargon that was, regurgitated by other people. And he's not saying anything original. He's saying the same things that other right-wing people are saying. It's just that he's young and he was able to go into him and his pastor start this youth movement where he was able to get the church and start leading these groups of churches that they have and get these followers to go and sign up and become Republican and go down this road of conservatism. And you're starting to see most of these people getting more political, becoming more conservative, and blacks and minorities are responsible for everything. And that's the problem. They don't seem to, they ignore and they in denial over the actual conditions. It's like black people are poor because you keep us poor. You won't let anybody from over there do anything. It's designed for them to stay poor because it's based on areas. Why do you think the hood stays the hood? The city's supposed to get money to fix it up. The government, you think it goes there? No, they're not fixing it up. And they don't care about policing it. They have no plans of doing any of this. Well, he was divisive because it draws a lot of attention. You know, his views are sometimes narrow-minded. If I see a black pilot, I go, wow, I wonder if he's qualified. You see a white pilot, you should say, wow, I wonder if he's qualified. When I see a white supervisor, do I go, damn, hope he knows what he's doing. I mean, that's the thing, though. See, I'm like, so you wouldn't think like that if the person was white. That's elitism. So you're an elitist. As long as everything's all white, it's all right. And if you have that kind of mentality, how are you going to move people forward? And everybody in the world isn't white. So what are you going to do then? What are you saying to the black Republicans that are right there? You're preaching that interracial relationships and all of this, you're not really with that, but then you praise Clarence Thomas, who's in an relatable marriage. You know, so it's like you living in a double-edged sword. Exactly. If he was a black conservative, they would not have cared. If you're with their cause, they don't care. You know how many Latino conservatives there are? There are plenty of them. Too many to count. They're the main ones out there talking about lock these no good Latinos up. These illegals got no business being in our country. They'd be like, your grandparents were illegal. That's how your ass got here to get legal. They came in here illegal. And here you are acting like yeah, you were born here, but they came here illegally. And now you're a Republican sitting here talking about getting people deported. That just shows you the mindset of some of these people. It's crazy. No, people vote for what fits their ideals. That's what I'm saying. People live in an area where they're upper middle class and all of this. They're going to be in the mentality of thinking, hey, these poor people are taking the jobs. Our taxes are raised because of these poor people. They're ruining it. All the poor people, they're taking the benefits and our tax dollars are going there. They're going to believe that. They're going to think all of the tax dollars are going there, not knowing that isn't true. It's not true. They think that because the government aid and all these black people are on government aid and they got to take care of this and they're getting all this free stuff. Where's this money come from? It's called programs. These are government programs. So that money comes from the government. Your taxes are not paying for people's rent. Your taxes is for your state. Your federal taxes is not going to that. They have programs for that. They're government-funded programs where the government has to allocate funds for it. Do you know why the government keeps putting money in there, and you keep wondering why they have welfare. Do you want to know why they have welfare? Welfare is created to keep the poor people from coming out there so you can live in your nice middle and upper class area that you live in. And you could walk around the streets with Sally and y'all could play dandelions. Because if they weren't giving those people welfare, guess where they're going to go? And they have no jobs. They're going to just sit down and starve? Or they're going to come where you at, come in your goddamn house, take your goddamn food, take your goddamn cars and everything you got. You pay them to stay away. That's why they give them government funding. So the next time you complaining about government funding for them, shut the fuck up. Leave them alone. Say give them some more money to stay the hell out of our goddamn area. That's what you need to do. Because that's the truth. You complain about the thing that you don't need to be complaining about. You want to end welfare? Okay. Guess what's going to happen next? They got all the guns. They got all this ammunition. And you tell them they have no money coming in? What they going to do? Sit around and starve? They're going to use all of that to come take what you got. They ain't going to be without. It's going to be the strongest survive. Now, are you ready for that? I don't think you are. So let them have their welfare, and whatever tax money is going into the thing, you're not going to see the tax money. Do you have any say in what happens with your taxes? No. Once you pay your taxes, you're done. To say, I don't want my tax money going there. Why? It's not yours no more. You got to pay the state. You pay the state and you pay the federal government your taxes. You have no say where the money go. If I lose a bet and I got to pay somebody the money out of my bet, I can't tell them what to do with the money. Here's your money. Now here, I want you to go take that money and go spend it on these blind kids over there, man. Go buy them some ice cream. And he gonna be like, F you, I'm gonna go buy some Jordans. You can't tell them what to do with the damn tax money. Where do you get this entitlement of believing that you can? If you want to do that, get you a nonprofit, right? Run it and donate the money to where you want the money to go. Tell the federal government, I donated to this nonprofit organization, charities like celebrities do, right? And they allocate the funds where they want it to go. If not, shut the fuck up. You have no bearings here. There's nothing you can do. You complain about something you don't want to complain about. It's only going to beget more problems. Now, let's get to the next thing. What ruined this country? You want to know what ruined this country? Rich people. That's right. Rich white people have ruined this country. Not poor people, rich white people. You have ruined America. That is absolutely correct. Not poor people, not teachers, not immigrants coming over into this country. Rich white people, you have ruined America. Wrong. Democrats and Republicans all have ruined this country. Rich white people, you have ruined America. Yes, you. Big banks are owned by who? Rich white people. And y'all have ruined America. Wall Street, y'all have ruined America. Taking hard-earned money from Americans, investing it in crap, stealing their money, investing it in garbage, taking 401k savings accounts and blurring it, splurging it all in strip clubs and cocaine. You destroyed the housing market with your banks and your little small sub lending banks like Countrywide. All you big banks were getting away with it, got busted, approving bad loans, crushed the market. And as the whole world went to the internet and the real estate property market was dying as the rent was going up and people couldn't afford it, which another housing crisis is already on the horizon. They trying to just keep that quiet, but it's already another one on the horizon because the rent is going back up. People can't afford the houses they live in. They can't afford to move. Eviction rates is at an all-time high for even apartment buildings. People are going to live with roommates offline, looking for roommates to try to keep their place. They can't afford the taxes. All these people are moving out of their homes. And why? Why do you think said thing is happening? Because you guys played around with the housing market, approving people with 475 as a FICO score, giving them ninja loans. You know what a ninja loan is? No income, no job application. Cooking the books, signing them up for apartments they can't afford, giving them back in money up front. So they're like, man, look, we got this money. We can use this to fix the place up. Not knowing they got to pay a mortgage every month that they can't afford. Then they behind, they putting some on it. Then the whole market collapse. Falls all the way down. All the jobs are going online. Now you've seen stores close. All these electronic stores. Circuit City, bang, Silo, bang, gone, gone. I'm like, whoa, that was quick. They all closing. Now all your big, gigantic malls got to get torn down and turned into strip malls. It takes up too much electricity, too much power when there's no stores in them. You go into those old malls now, they're huge and they got no store. Greed. Why? Because we used to manufacture things here, but you rich, greedy people like Donald Trump, who talked this America, 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 had his whole clothing line, his Trump clothing line, developed in China, made in China. I had a Donald Trump shirt. It was nice. That was all developed in China. All of y'all rich people, because it was less costly, you had your companies build stuff out of the United States because you didn't want to pay the money. You didn't want to pay the taxes. Too expensive to pay those taxes. But you love America so much, right? America first. But yet you go into their countries using them for work. Then gonna try to kick them out of your country, but you in their country. Make that make sense. See, they've been lying to you for so goddamn long. Nobody's gonna tell you the truth. The country was ruined by rich white men. Period. How you gonna tell me some bunch of immigrants coming in the country made the country go down? Oh, these immigrants came over here and they're taking jobs away from Americans. That's not how it's working. The jobs that those guys get, nobody in America won't. You are not going to work at no job for no $7 an hour. Most of those people that come over here in illegals, they got jobs and doing jobs that y'all ain't finna do. They get up in the morning, get on the back of a truck at 6 in the morning, they go digging through trash to find metals. Are you finna do that? Are you gonna go picking in a strawberry field, working on a farm, digging through cow shit for $7 an hour? Those $2 an hour jobs shouldn't exist. Well, they need to exist because it needs to be done. They're tedious, but it needs to be done. See, nowadays, here's the problem. All of these conservatives need to understand this, right? If you don't like them, the immigrants taking the job, take your rich, white, suburban sons and put their ass out there to work. Tell them to go do the jobs. Take your rich, white, conservative sons and put their ass out there to work. Oh, they not going to do those jobs? Then shut the fuck up. Is your rich conservative job son want to get out there and work for $7 an hour? If not, shut the fuck up. Don't tell me they taking all the jobs and you ain't doing the jobs that they doing. You act like they coming over and taking over CEO of, God damn it, that was my CEO job, motherfucker, goddamn, he ain't even from here. Like they coming in, walking in, taking the Enron job. Yeah, I got this job. Thank God. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now they want to keep all of this down now. And they want to cut out all these farming jobs and control the food. It's all facts and it's all known. Everybody know it. They just try to act like it doesn't exist or someone's lying. Nobody's lying. Rich white people ruined this world. They ruined this country. They've always have. The drilling, the damaging of the country, going in areas, drilling for oil, whaling, endangering species, chemicals dumped into the ocean, rich corporations, DuPont, poisoning damn near 99% of us. We almost, all of us got carbon plus in our system because of the damage in the water supply that they put into the water. Well, that's why cancer shot up so much. And when people found out about it, they brought worldwide attention and they made a movie about it and they didn't even market it. And Mark Ruffalo was the only one who said, the world needs to know about this. And they told him, look, shut up and play the Incredible Hulk. And then they ended up sitting his ass down. And he made another movie since. He made a cameo in that She-Hulk. And all of a sudden, Hulk World was put on ice because he wanted to tell y'all what was really going on out here in the world. All of us that's speaking right now in the chat, you got carbon in your system. You got plastic in your body that your body cannot break down and get out of your system. It ain't just conservatives, T. It's Democrats too. That's what I'm saying. Rich white people ain't just conservatives. The Democrats is white too. And they richer than the damn Republicans. It's all of them. But people gotta face it. It's like they don't want to deal with it. Like I told you, Democrats are in denial. I mean, they are delusional, and conservatives are in denial. They always see one side. They can't see their own selves because they don't want to look. They don't want to look in the mirror and have to put the mirror up and say, damn, I'm the problem. They ain't gonna never do that. So everything got to be on the Democrats so they can say, oh, well, it's the Democrats. They the ones that's crazy. No, you crazy too. The country is always going to be destroyed when you don't manufacture anything. That country will always be weak. If we just become distribution, and that's what everybody has done now. China and all these people are going to become superpowers because they manufacture, and we're buying what they got. Now we used to be the country that made things. That's why U.S. Steel, General Motors were always the top companies in this country. Once that started to change to Walmart and Google, it's the top companies and Amazon. They don't make anything. They distribute, and those are the top companies in America. That's when you know your country's in trouble and it's headed for a fall. Because you're not manufacturing. Manufacturing is kings. That's why we were the essence of everything. Now you got towns who was built on manufacturing. Those towns are dead, like Youngstown, Ohio, dead. They had nothing. That was a meal plant. All those mills are closed, shut down. There's no manufacturing. All those machines and metals is just rust sitting there. Go throughout this world in the Midwest, all the manufacturing companies, Metalux, U.S. Steel, shut down. Now all of those workers are gone. All of those workers are out of business. All of those employees laid off. My grandfather worked like 50 years at U.S. Steel. And they shut down his thing, or he was going to have to transfer to another place. And the one I think they had in Indiana or somewhere, and he ended up retiring. He had 50 years of doing it. So that was it. Then they kept saying, oh, made in America, it matters. If it mattered, then why didn't you rich people start building your companies here? No, you rich, greedy people sell your products here, but had it made in Mexico, made in Taiwan, made in China, because it's less costly. So if you rich people who cared about America so much that you're going around here pretending like you do, I'm so American. Well, you're American, but you drive in German engineering. Where's your Ford truck, Mr. America? Where's your Chevy, Mr. America? You pulling out of here in a goddamn Tesla, talking about American made. It's hypocritical bullshit. All these people like, I want to get the country right. I want to be pro-right. Well, if you want the country right, then stop being part of the problem. Stop acting like you give a shit about the poor. You don't. Just go about your life doing what you do and just leave people the hell alone. It's people that have no clue or don't have any dealings with poor people trying to tell them what's what they're going through, their conditioning. You don't know about their conditions. They don't worry about your rich ass problems. You think the people in the hood worry about your goddamn problem? White people think black people care like a lot about what they go through. They don't. Like, nobody black I know give a damn about white men. They be so concerned about what black people are doing. It is the craziest thing in the world. I'd be like, why did you even care what they doing over there? Why are they doing that over there in that neighborhood, man? I'm like, a neighborhood your ass ain't never going? Why do you even care? Because you don't care. One, you ain't trying to solve what's going on over there. You're not going to go down there and start no damn meetings, and so you don't give a damn what the hell you tweeting about it for. You tweeting about something you will never have to deal with. This is what I mean by people just use stuff for attention for themselves. That's all they want. They want to be seen so somebody could disagree with them and go into a whole big argument with them so they can have a reason to do something, so they can feel involved in something because their life is just empty. It makes no sense. Yeah, it's not all, like I say, it's not all white people. Some white people just don't give a damn. They just live their life because they have things to do. They don't have the time to sit around and do this. That's why I tell people, like, go do something. Why the hell are you like just go? What was you doing? Don't you got plans this week to do something? Just do that. Why are you focused on this in a situation you're not going to try to make better? You don't care nothing about what's going on over there. You don't care about the people over there. What the fuck are you tweeting about it for? makes no damn sense to me. So all these rich corporations have done this thing to mess this country up. Yet and still, we find a way to blame Hispanics, immigrants, black people, and Democrats. That's what they want you to believe. Wall Street didn't ruin this country. The corporations that ran down the housing market, the government, everything going bankrupt, all of it. Oh no, that had nothing to do with it. They went bankrupt because of the welfare. Welfare. Welfare ain't gonna bankrupt no country, trust me. Welfare ain't gonna do it. If you believe that, then you're retarded. Because there's no way they'll ever allow that to happen. Well, we were going to do it, but welfare kicked in, and due to welfare, we had to get involved. Of course, we built this country. The Chinese came in and built the railroads. We put in all the work. So your greed, rich white man's, Democrat, Republican, etc., have ruined this country completely. Because the same people who talk this rhetoric about a better place have ruined it. Donald Trump was one of the people that helped ruin this country. He was part of the problem also. All of these people who had these companies who went outside of this country to have their factories and manufacture it, didn't manufacture here in the United States, you've helped ruin this country. Congratulations. This is the results of you giving away the power of the country to smaller countries, to everybody else. And now China, who's been brought to the table by Bill Clinton, which was a mistake. But once he did that and brought China back into the market of distributing out to the world, and they're getting food, they're getting everything now. China now has become a superpower, bigger than us. We got to depend on them for our electronics. Everything, microchips, all in development. Why do you think the tariff switched to, oh no, not phones. We're not going to tariff the phones, the computers, the microchips. Then what the hell are you tariffing? A goddamn Santa Claus doll? Some toys? Some clothes? I'm like, look, all you doing is wasting people's time. They have a dictator, yeah, and drones too. Exactly. All the stuff the government needs. They ain't gonna tariff that. Well, they got American debt, but that's just a portion of it. But that's just a part of it, T. They have worldwide infrastructure. See, they're building a railing system to where they're going to cut out the United States completely. And then they're going to go to be the #1 country in the world in revenue. And that's going to happen within the next 3 to 4 years. If they're not there already, when that railing system is complete, they're going to have a railing system that goes all the way, because China is in the sub spot where they can get to Africa. They can get to everywhere they want to go with a railing system. And once they have that railing system completed, they're going straight to the UK with it. They're going to go from China to the UK with a railing system. and they're going to take care of all the problems. See, I told people, everybody on my Patreon already know. That railing system gets finished, it's over. That's ball game. Because now they don't have to go through the United States to import anything anymore. They're going to bypass us, and then the UK don't have to come. They don't have to deal with the United States to get stuff from China. They can just go straight to China. China can deal with them directly, and they're going to cut everybody. That's going to cut America's power down dramatically. So all you people who care about this country, it's going to get scarce really soon. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I always say, man. That's, you gotta be keeping your head on the swivel almost nowadays, because it's foul out here. Oh yeah, I told people that. China bought the United States, did what they needed to do. It was all good. Nah. Mm-mm.
Who in tarnation is Charlie Kirk to have the American flag flown at half mast until Sunday? Folks, I tried to be nice and I tried to come at this as civil as possible. But where was this energy just a few weeks back when children were mowed down in a Catholic school in Minnesota and parents had to run down the street barefooted to rescue their child from a madman armed with a gun? Where was that energy today when there was a man in Colorado mowing down students? Where was that energy in Donald Trump's first administration when there was a mass shooter in Florida? Where was that energy when those tragedies happened? Why wasn't the flag lowered to half mast for those tragedies? But you lower it for a man who, as far as I'm concerned, gave validity to the very thing that has caused his demise, saying that we must accept a degree of gun deaths in the U.S. to maintain our Second Amendment right. As far as I'm concerned, he spoke his own death into existence. This is asinine. Who in tarnation is Charlie Kirk to have the American flag flown at half mast until Sunday. Folks, I tried to be nice and I tried to come at this as civil as possible. But where was this energy just a few weeks back when children were mowed down in a Catholic school in Minnesota and parents had to run down the street barefooted to rescue their child from a madman armed with a gun? Where was that energy today when there was a man in Colorado mowing down students? Where was that energy in Donald Trump's first administration when there was a mass shooter in Florida? Where was that energy when those tragedies happened? Why wasn't the flag lowered to half mast for those tragedies? But you will lower it for a man who, as far as I'm concerned, gave validity to the very thing that has caused his demise, saying that we must accept a degree of gun deaths in the U.S. to maintain our Second Amendment right. As far as I'm concerned, he spoke his own death into existence. This is asinine.
Now, do you agree with this man's point? Charlie Kirk should not have been killed, but the situation is that the information and the things that he was saying was very toxic. There were going to feel offended. They were going to want to get some payback in some type of way, and they warned him not to come there, could due to violence, all kind of threats. And it's an act of a coward. It was a coward way to go out, to take his life like that. Well, when it gets scandalous, that's what people do. No, not really. I didn't think so. Again, it ain't about what I think, right? Mm-hmm. I see. Well, a lot of people they really don't think. Sometimes when it comes to those situations, like what you just said, when those analogies are put out there, the narratives, like you just said, I mean, this guy has said a lot, like a lot of things that's just off the cuff. A lot of it is rhetoric. This man said Kendrick Lamar is sleeping with everything around the globe. He was like, you want Kendrick Lamar? Some girl wanted Kendrick Lamar over Clarence Thomas. I'm like, that's a girl that's like 15, 16, maybe 18 years old. Tops. You know, what she know about Clarence Thomas? So it's like, yeah, he lets people come up and debate. Yeah, people who don't know anything, they're not enlightened. I can go to a high school right now and debate the entire high school about LeBron James and Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas. If they have no knowledge of what the hell I'm talking about, yes, I can appear to be very smart. I can convince them that Sidney Moncrief was better than LeBron James, even though he was, but still. They don't know anything about the people I'm talking about. So once again, Ricky Pierce was better than him. Oh, damn, my housekeeper's here. Hold on. Oh, hey, how you doing? There you go. Yeah, you can start upstairs and the basement, you know, get the spider. Okay.
I'm working with my colleague.
Oh, she's on her way?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 minutes.
All right, cool. Y'all will get done faster now. All right. So, yeah, like I was saying, ruined the country. Now, how welfare is going to do that? That's another key. How is welfare going to ruin the country?
When a black person dies, white media, especially conservative media, they'll go find all the criminal history. D-House he did when he was in high school, goddamn the speeding tickets they got last week, you know what I'm saying, the tweets they disagreed with, and they never berated about having empathy and sympathy for the dead because now they're engaged in confirmation bias because that nigga supposed to be dead. Now all of a sudden, the same group that loves to politicize every time death is brought up, all of a sudden want us to be like the damn Pope. All of a sudden you want Mary Magdalene. No, hell no. The same way you live by it gonna be the same way you die by it. I can't understand how a person's supposed to have much more empathy for a motherfucker that had no empathy when they was alive.
How can you expect for people to have more respect for a person in death than they ain't had ever for nobody when they was alive? I don't get the double standard, especially when it comes to morals and ethics about having respect for the dead. Hey, Charlie Kirk berated and trivialized the death of George Floyd's political game. As a matter of fact, he doubled down and criminalized a lot of black folks, even in death. So now that his family has to, you know what I'm saying, mourn, like, shit, y'all ain't got that type of sympathy and empathy for these black women when their sons get murdered. Y'all figure out every mass shooting to politicize. You can't think of a mass shooting that happened in the past 10 years that Charlie Kirk didn't capitalize on. Now he under the dirt, pushing daisies, kicking the bucket, and all of a sudden we gotta have all of the decorum, all of the ethics, and talking about his humanity. He ain't had no humanity. He was a bad person. You see what I'm saying? When a racist die, ain't nobody gonna cry too much, except for the racists that raised the racists. You see what I'm saying? And that's the reality of the situation. You feel me? The reality of the situation is he didn't have no heart when it came to the folks he justified. The chickens have come home to roost. When a black person dies, white media, especially conservative media, they'll go find all the criminal history. D-House he did when he was in high school, goddamn the speeding tickets they got last week, you know what I'm saying, the tweets they disagreed with, and they never berated about having empathy and sympathy for the dead because now they're engaged in confirmation bias because that nigga supposed to be dead. Now all of a sudden, the same group that loves to politicize every time death is brought up, all of a sudden want us to be like the damn Pope.
Is that T? And that seemed like T. T, is that you? T, was that you? That seemed like T right there. That guy seemed like T. Yeah, okay, Jeff, you're right. But when you say that, he's made the assumption that it wasn't the pilot's job wasn't based on merit just by the color of his skin, Jeff. That's the point you're missing. You see, Jeff, what he's saying is, I wonder if he's qualified. See, there wouldn't be a need for a DEI if you guys were judging and hiring off of merit. See, if you guys were hiring off of merit, most of the guys that's hired wouldn't even have jobs. He's under the assumption that anybody who is, not of color, they are automatically merit. You see, Jeff? You see the hypocrisy in the statement now? .9% of them don't. And when you tell them that we're like the fourth people in the list that benefited off of DEI, it still don't register to them. We got to be the face of everything. It's crazy. Charlie's intent is to cause disruption, cause people to be unrest, to draw money and attention towards himself. Now, all that better America and all that, I don't buy any of that. Never trust a guy named Jeff. That's my uncle named Jeff. That's funny. Never trust a guy named Jeff. That is exactly the point, Jeff. So that's the same. How would he know that person? He's made a decision based off the person's skin color, not off anything else. He's looking at a person and determining, I wonder if he's qualified. Why would you wonder that just by looking at a black person, if they're qualified or not? Do they even know what DEI means? They don't mean that they're not qualified to have the job. They just hire someone because they're black. Well, we got to fill the color margin, so let's just grab a black person and throw them in there. No, they just give them the opportunity that they never would get because you guys weren't judging off of merit. You weren't picking the best person for the job. So it kills me when these people talk about DEI. Like, oh God, here it is, DEI. Like, I want to eliminate that and get that out of here. Right. But you want to do best person for the job? Why can't they hire just the best person for the job? Because if they did, you wouldn't have a job. The majority of you would be out of work. You're lazy, unmotivated, was given everything off entitlement? No, you wouldn't have a job. No. No, he did not deserve to die. Mm-hmm. Y'all emotional as hell. He's coming. He said, it's like he want to say, let me misunderstand Charlie so I can hate on him. Oh, that feels better. Let me hate. I don't think that's the case, Jeff, if that's what you're saying. We've totally explained to you what he meant. We listened to you explain what he meant. And I told you, if you look at someone based on their color and wonder if they're qualified for the job, why would you bring that to the forefront?
Hi.
Hello.
girls, yes?
Yeah. Double the fun.
Sliding quickly for hours.
Yeah, I know you guys are getting like this now. You guys are getting started quick. Yeah, I'll be out of here by the time that happens. I'm gonna go and get ready to get out y'all way. Oh yeah, it's the same price. Yeah, reading y'all comments has been crazy. Sundown channel. Yeah, so. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jeff. That don't work. That does not help. That's even worse to even say. You don't have to have the token person and just try to justify it. That didn't work for Bush when he said he had Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice. That makes it even worse when you say that. But anyway. You mean you can count on one finger how many black friends he got? You can count on one finger for Jeff. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, I'm gonna let you guys. Let me get ready to roll. They gotta clean up around here, so I'll check it back with y'all later. All right.